Next, we have Anupama Shah, who says that she owns a flat in a building that underwent redevelopment. So she lived in the same building. Now she wants to know from which day will the 3-year period to calculate capital gains tax begin, from the date of agreement or from the date of receiving the occupation certificate. Would the 3-year period apply if she would have sold the house during construction, since she has been living in the building for a long time? You know, this is a question that there are a lot of people, especially in Mumbai, are struggling with, because we're seeing a lot of buildings going in for redevelopment now. So if you could just answer this, and I have a couple of questions of my own, Suresh.
Yeah, sure. So Anupama, here the question is that if it is gone for redevelopment and if you receive it back within a period of 3 years, it is from the date of receiving the possession that you have to hold it for 3 years from that point onwards. If you have sold the property in the meantime, then there is a question that the whatever gain you made on account of redevelopment, that you have not reinvested in another purchase of property. So it will not be eligible for exemption. So you can't sell it even while it is under construction. And in case you are wanting to claim the exemption, which I think you definitely want to claim exemption and not pay tax on this. And you will have to count the period of 3 years of holding from the date you receive the possession, which would generally be maybe immediately after the occupation certificate.
So what you're saying, Suresh, even if I've been living in that building for 20 years and now it has gone for redevelopment, and say it took 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever, and in the interim, if I sell that property, I will have to pay short-term capital gains?
It will be long-term capital gain only.
Okay.
Because you have been holding it for more than whatever period. But the point is that from the point of view of taxability, what normally you would have got exemption, you will not be able to get the exemption.
You have to pay the tax. There is no exemption that you can avail of.
Yeah, I mean, there is an argument that in case of redevelopment, you still continue to hold the right in the land, and it is only the superstructure which you are changing the.
Exactly.
So there is a whole argument that whether the taxability, whether you can really say that you have, when you are receiving, let's say, one flat for another, whether you have given up all your rights, because your right in the land continues. But I think right now the way most of the judgments are, they are taking a view that even on redevelopment, because there is an exchange of property, it is treated as a sale or it is treated as a transfer. And if you have reinvested in purchase of, again, I mean, because in the redevelopment you are getting back the house, and if you get it back within 3 years, anyway it would be eligible for exemption. So the safer view is that you should get the possession back within 3 years, so that even if it is considered to be taxable, it will be exempt from tax under section 54.
And what if, like in most cases, we've seen that redevelopment projects, some of them go on for as long as 10 years. We've heard of horror stories of that kind. But 3 years, 5 years, say it extends beyond 3 years. What happens then?
That's a very good question. And the only thing, while the law says that it has to be invested within 3 years, but there are several court verdicts now which have said that as long as you have done from your side, you have made the investment, and also in terms of the completion of construction is delayed because of any delay on the part of the developer and for no fault of the taxpayer, then that period is, I mean, this particular exemption should be taken more liberally and the benefit should not be withdrawn. But it is again not explicit provision, it is more the court interpretation that the taxpayer has done whatever he could have done. And as per the terms, if the possession was to be received.
So essentially, if you are stuck in a project like this, and if the IT department does come knocking on your door, what you need to do is go to the tax appellate tribunal over there and fight out your case. That's the only thing that
already there is a Bombay High Court judgment on that, which is favorable. And so basically, obviously, you will not directly go to the tribunal. First, the tax department has to, only if they make an assessment, they don't agree that it should be exempt. Then only you will have to go to the higher authorities. But yeah, so you have to go through the process. Yeah.
And very quickly, I know we have a caller waiting with a question. But very quickly, tell me this, Suresh. There are a lot of other things that happen when your building goes in for redevelopment. You get a hardship allowance, you get rental income. What happens to all of this? Is all of this also taxable?
So as far as hardship allowance or alternative accommodation is concerned, it is not considered to be taxable because it is not in the nature of income. And again, there are
But the
several.
travel allowance, etc., that some developers might just give you if you manage to strike that kind of a deal.
I mean, most of the time, what you get is either an alternative accommodation, or they will give you a house rent, compensation,
Right.
to provide so that you can arrange for your alternate accommodation. So that is what is the most common. I don't know about the travel. Are you talking about
The
the
travel is
transport?
because I'm talking in cases where you have a building in South Mumbai and are forced to move to the suburbs because of the redevelopment, and there are cases where a travel allowance is given in that case.
Yeah, so I would say whatever you call it is essentially in the nature of compensation for alternative accommodation.
So it can't be taxed.
Until that, so no, that will not be taxed.
That will not be taxed.
Because it is not income. It is basically in the nature of compensation for hardship.
Right. So some relief there for people whose buildings are going into redevelopment.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.